but also playing by the social rules, which were incredibly complex. And nobody actually said, this is how you do that. Lots of people, most of them my age, my peer group, thought they knew how, and none of them seemed to be particularly expert to me, because at that age, of course, we're all clumsy and gauche when it comes to sexuality and relationships and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't know any of that. So there was stuff to do. And the purpose of doing all of that, let me show you. Let me see if I can show you on a piece of paper. Okay? So I was told that you have to do stuff so that you can have stuff. You see? You have to do stuff so you can have stuff. Now, the doing of the stuff was hard work. The having of the stuff was supposed to be the reward. Well, what was the purpose of the having? What was the reward? Because, see, what I had, what I was aiming for, the good grades, was what for? So I could get a decent job. The decent job was what for? So that I could get a reasonable salary, and that salary would buy me things like a house, perhaps, of moderate to better than moderate means in those days, whatever that was. And all of the above would earn me a certain status and prestige within the society and the culture that I was living in. I was also supposed to do stuff around relationships and so on with the eventual goal of having a wife and a family. Why was I supposed to have all of these things? I had to do stuff in order to have stuff, so that, that's meant to be a triangle, looks like a wizard's hat with a bit of a bend on the top, so that I could be happy. Do stuff to have stuff to be happy. It's a long route, and I'm here to tell you, it's the wrong route. Because doing stuff is, as I've said, hard work. Well, it's relative. Some stuff is harder than others, and some stuff is harder to do for some people than it is for other people. And I didn't mind doing stuff that felt good and fun and easy. I minded doing the stuff that I minded doing, just like you probably mind doing stuff that you mind doing. Like, maybe you love your job, but hate the studying you have to do, or vice versa, the other way around for you, maybe. Or maybe you find relationships particularly challenging, or finances particularly challenging, or you don't know how to develop your career, but you have to jump through all these hoops to get there. And maybe as well, you're a frustrated, you fill in the blank. I was a frustrated writer and as it turns out, coach. I always loved teaching and explaining stuff, and the more I learned, the more I found that I could reproduce real chunks of knowledge and understanding at quite a deep level in ways that other people could relatively easily understand. I found that people, the feedback that I got from friends to begin with was just, oh, Trevor, you've made me understand that in a way that I didn't understand that ever before. And to this day, and I'm 56, coming up 57 years old as I speak to you here, that's one of the strengths that I play to. Only these days, I mostly do that in different ways. I write and I teach and I make recordings like this, and I do some work in psychiatric institutions as well, at a quite a senior level. Because that's what I'm good at doing. And I love doing all that stuff. So these days what I do is effortless. And that's because I eventually figured out, and this doesn't come from NLP, but NLP helped me get to this point. Okay? I figured out that the place to start is here. At B. Be yourself. Be happy first. Then what to do and how to do it easily bubbles out of that place. When you're happy, you just know what to do. You're in the flow, you're in the zone. And then all those things that you want to have, they just turn up. There's no struggle. Now, when you think about it, there are no struggles in nature. You put an acorn in soil, or even an acorn falls to the soil, and in time, you'll have an oak tree, and in more time, you potentially have an oak forest if someone doesn't come and chop it down. You plant an apple seed in the ground, and a bit of sunshine, a bit of water, and a bit of soil, and the energy in that apple seed can turn into an entire orchard. There's no struggle involved. And sometimes, yes, the acorn or the apple seed falls on fallow ground, and or it blows away, or it gets eaten by a bird or a squirrel, and it doesn't grow. And then it feeds a bird or a squirrel. Okay? But whatever happens to it isn't a struggle. There isn't a kind of, what if that goes wrong? What if that doesn't work out? That doesn't occur in nature. It only occurs in us because we're faced with choices, and we think, wrongly as it transpires, that we can make choices that can cause us harm. If we make the wrong choice, we'll meet a roadblock, and we'll be destroyed, or we'll be held back, or we'll be beaten up by the competition, or something terrible will befall us. And that actually turns out not to be true. Now, I have strayed here from the core of NLP. And I told you that had happened to me. And I'm telling you that this because NLP was my acorn, if you like. And out of that acorn, my oak tree, I'm now considering myself an oak tree, but the oak tree that I've become, if you like, the strong, healthy oak forest that is Trevor Emdon sitting before you here, that has led me to those places where I realize that if I control my internal world and control my inner environment, then a whole host of other things open up to me. So, look at all the areas of life that you and I and many people struggle to control. Money, finances. Okay? Now you'd think, or you might think, well, what's NLP and NLP coaching got to do with my money? But money is an attitude of mind first. Your ability to manage money is definitely an attitude of mind. Look at the number of big lottery winners who have ended up back broke, because that has nothing to do with the amount of money they had. That has to do with their belief and their ability to manage it well and to keep it. Okay? Which leads to another whole area of belief which most people don't consider, and the vast majority of people are certainly not conscious of, which is your awareness of your own self-worth. If I was to ask you, and as your NLP coach I might, depending on the agenda, if I was to ask you, what are you worth? If you are applying for a job, or you're trying to build your own business, what do you think would be the upper and the lower limit of what you should pay yourself or be paid? What's the limit? Okay, so just as a little process here, you can just try this out in your head. It's okay, I can't hear you, I'm on the other side of a camera. Okay, so just try this out in your head. So if I say to you, okay, so whatever income level you're on now, just think of that number. So I'm just going to pick one out of the air because I don't know who you are, and I'm going to say 25,000. Okay? Now, and that might be pounds or dollars or euros or something else. So let's, and obviously it could be either side. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, for the example, it's 25,000, but you think of the number that you're really on. Okay? Now, would you like a bit more than that? If somebody said to you, okay, you can have a 10% pay rise in the next 12 months. Okay, so that's 2,500, so then you'll be on 27,500, whatever currency. That probably feels, for most people, You go, yeah, that would be very nice. Another 10% would be lovely. Okay. Now, instead of offering you 10%, let's suppose that I said to you,